My life is good. I write was hood. I might get to it. Not out the woods, so bro, I got to do it. Be a monster. That's why my mantra.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your boy MagMongoSlade. And this is NWA Powerrr from June the 8th, 2021, in which little to nothing happened. But there was a pretty big announcement that we must discuss. At the top of the show, it is announced that NWA will run back-to-back pay-per-views in August. August 28th, an all-women's NWA pay-per-view. On August 29th will be NWA 73, a NWA pay-per-view. So the wrestling world has been really a buzz. You know, all of the woke glitterati. They're going to have a women's pay-per-view. It's called EMPOWERRR. It's going to be an all-women's pay-per-view. And the executive producer will be Mickie James. And Mickie James will be the executive producer. And I said, oh, wow. Interesting. So she's actually going to be doing all the legwork. She's going to be, and she was on Twitter soliciting talent, saying she wants to have all the women she can get on the show. She doesn't care if they're under contract or not. She wants to get as many women as she could on this show. And that she's calling in favors. She's calling friends. She's doing all of this stuff. Where's the money going to come from? That's going to be the question. But, so there's been a lot of people bantering around some things. Some women who have been retired, who are not under contract to WWE, or, you know, even if they are under contract to AEW, would they appear or something like that? Now, I have no doubt that, you know, the most of the card is probably going to be independent wrestlers. Of course, the NWA women's title is probably going to be the headline. So likely Camille will be the main event, which is fine. Mickie herself is probably going to have to wrestle on that card. Wrestle who, though, is the question. And I think that if Mickie is going to wrestle, she's probably going to wrestle somebody she's wrestled before and somebody she feels like she could have a good match with. Basically, the long and the short of it is there a possibility that somebody like maybe Lita or Trish Stratus will show up on this show? And I think that's one of the things that, because Lita, as far as I know, is not affiliated with WWE whatsoever. Trish Stratus, I am not sure. I think she's done, though. I think Trish is done. And I don't think she's probably not going to want to travel just to do one-off match with Mickie James. Now, there are likely some other women. Could you see like Deonna Purrazzo showing up to the show? Some women that were signed to Impact. I definitely think that Impact will probably help out. You know, AEW would probably help out. So you may see Britt Baker show up. I think that it would be an opportunity to really do that and to really make it a big deal. But I think over the next couple of weeks, we'll see if they take it seriously or not. Now, from the looks of things, this is an all hands on deck effort. Like if this thing flops, much like, you know, Evolution flopped, you'll probably never see it again. Now, from her promo when she talked about it, Mickie James sounded like this is what she wanted to do in WWE. She wanted to have a women's only pay-per-view and she wanted to be the executive producer of it. But it was blocked and people was kind of like, nah, we're not doing that. Now, again, Mickie James, like Maria, like so many of them, have been saying WWE just won't do a women's only show or a women's only pay-per-view. And it's like they've done both of those things already. You know, Knock Knock, Mae Young Classic. Knock Knock, Evolution. Both of those things were apparently flops because they stopped doing them, right? So we have a situation. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, they should have stopped doing it. I'm not even against the idea. Again, I'm telling you, I'm for the segregation. I'm with the shits. I am absolutely with women having their own brand. You know, the shimmers and all that type of stuff, the stardom, great. You know, because there's more than enough male talent that doesn't get the time that they deserve. You can give the female talent the time that they deserve by giving them their own separate brand. Right? So, yes, I think they should. I think that if Big Bucks Billy wants to spend the cash to actually get some high-profile women to come to the show, and to be quite honest, they probably won't charge them full price anyway, because it's basically a charity event. And I hate to put it that way, but that's pretty much what it is. You know, NWA is a very small promotion. They don't have big budgets, you know, and you're looking at, you know, maybe one or two big surprises. And I think that they'll probably be able to get, and that's why I think Lita will probably be involved. She'd probably be the biggest surprise, because as far as I know, Lita is not involved with WWE whatsoever. So having Lita wrestle Mickie James on that show would be fun, and it would get a lot of people to tune in. And I think that's something that they should do. You know, Lita's not in the best shape in the world, but she could probably work a solid 5 to 10 minute match. It doesn't have to be a half hour. People mostly tune in just to see her wrestle, you know, and since Mickie James, also one of the things was age, and I think that'd be another one, you know, that to show her that, yeah, women can still wrestle into their 40s. They can jump off the couch just like a man and jump into the ring, even though, you know, it doesn't always work that way. But this was a big statement, and I saw all the blue check marks on Twitter talking about how great this is and how, you know, it's so awesome. I was like, y'all people barely watch PPV as it is. You barely watch PPV. How the fuck you gonna care about a women's pay-per-view? It's the same thing with Ring of Honor, if we're being honest. Ring of Honor has been doing the women's only Wednesdays or whatever. People report the results, but they don't support the show, like, generally. Like, they don't tell people, oh, women's only show is on now. They just kind of talk, oh, yeah, well, this happened on the women's only show. Because they do the same thing with everything. They support it in passing, not as it's, you know, like not like they support Dynamite. They start hyping Dynamite 3 days before it airs, you know, but everything else they start hyping like, hey, are you guys watching this? And it's like, it's been on for 10 minutes. Yeah, I guess I'm watching it, you know, but it's the cause du jour, and it gives them an opportunity to really show up and show out. You know, NWA is taking it to the next level. Like I said, Ring of Honor will be doing their women's champion. They'll probably have a women's champion by then. By August, yeah, I think Ring of Honor will probably have a women's champion. So likely do a good deed, and I'm pretty sure the WWE women will probably support the show by retweeting it and all that kind of stuff. So it ought to get some pretty good traction, and it ought to be a big deal. Now, do I think people who are under contract to WWE will go? No, of course not. Some under AEW may go, you know, because there's very few women under contract in AEW. So that's probably like 4, you know, that are actually under contract as far as signed to the brand. The rest of them are independent contractors who come and go anyway. So I do think that everybody will try to make it work, and that would be awesome. But I still don't think it's going to be like a big splash. It'll be a big splash if you can get a big name. Like if she can announce in mid-July that, like I said, Lita will wrestle, or somebody of that caliber, somebody who's been gone for a long time, that she can wrestle herself and put herself maybe in the co-main event, and, you know, or something like that, then it'll work. It'll be great, you know, because then it'll get people interested in just seeing the big mega match, that, you know, the Legends match or whatever, and that'll be fun. You know, even if it's just a tag team match, it's making it some young girl versus somebody else and a younger girl, and that'll be fun. You know, that's a good opportunity for them. But I don't see people caring too much. And I don't see like the success, it reaching the success levels. But then again, I also don't know the pricing. Is it going to cost the same amount as a regular episode of Dynamite? A regular episode of PPV? Or is it going to be like a pay-per-view $20 type of deal? Because if it's like a $20 deal, you're probably going to have a lot of people bootlegging it and then posting hearts and talking about how much they love women's wrestling and all that shit. You know. But that was the big announcement. And I was surprised to hear it. And I'm glad that they're doing it, I guess. I'm all for, you know, women having their own thing. I don't care. I don't think it take away from the men's thing anyway. You know, so it is what it is. So the show. So the show was mostly talking segments. So Camille was getting honored for winning the Burke, that they call it. They call the women's title the Burke, which is a reference to Mildred Burke, the first women's champion. But she's won the Burke. And so they're talking a lot about that. And she said she's going to be in the main event tonight, and they think she's going to wrestle, but really she's just going to get coronated as being the champion. So Joe Galley is out there being righteously indignant about about Nick Aldis cheating and screwing Trevor Murdoch out of the world title. And when Tom Latimer comes out there, because Camille announced him to come out, and then they made out, which was really gross. But he then gets into Joe Galley's face and starts shouting at him, because Galley is shouting at Latimer about his hand in screwing Trevor Murdoch. And he tells Galley, you better watch it. It's not gonna turn out well for you. And then when Chris Adonis and Nick Aldis comes out, Aldis tells Galley, hey, you better relax, because I will hit you. I will kick your ass. Then we find out that Nick Aldis was fined $25,000 for the screw job on Trevor Murdoch, but he doesn't even sell the fee, so it didn't mean much of anything. Then Nick Aldis says for the first time this show is not going to be about him, it's going to be about Camille. And him and Joe Galley keep getting into it because Galley is speaking with so much bass in his voice at Strictly Business right now. And Tim Storm had to come over and replace Galley. Had to come and talk Galley down and tell him to leave. This was really good babyface stuff from Joe Galley. He was being indignant. He was absolutely offended that these guys had screwed Trevor Murdoch. Now, the only problem I got with this, his performance was great. I just think that it should have been a wrestling babyface that was that offended and got in Nick Aldis's face, and not Joe Galley. Like, Joe Galley is not going to beat up any of these guys. So I'm glad with him voicing his opinion and putting out there how disgusted he was, but they needed to be at least a wrestler to come out there to back him up. That says, if you touch Galley, you got to deal with me, which should have been Trevor Murdoch, but he's still being, I don't think it's going to happen for me. He's still being Eeyore from Winnie the fucking Pooh. So out of this whole shenanigans, we learned that there's going to be a national title tournament. Since Chris Adonis has been stripped of the title for entering the Battle Royal. They tried to blame, Tim Storm blamed Nick Aldis for Chris Adonis not being the champion anymore. Nick Aldis blamed Billy Corgan and said that Billy Corgan has been trying to hold down Strictly Business because he don't want them dominating the company. And that he knows that just like Camille took the women's title whenever she wanted to, that Latimer and Adonis could take the tag team titles whenever they want to, and either Latimer or Adonis can take the national title whenever they want to, and as long as it's within Strictly Business, everything's going to work out fine. And this opening segment went a little long for me, but we got a lot of information out of it. We learned a lot. Unfortunately, this will probably be the most meaningful segment of the show, outside of the announcement of the women's tournament, rather. So we get a promo from Serena Deeb, who talked about, when she was the champion, that she wanted to defend the title with honor and virtue and all this sort of stuff, and that she's not done and she'll be back. The first match was Luke Hawx, who apparently had won a number one contenders match on the pre-show, and I forgot to go watch it, and he lost to the Pope in the NWA television title. And immediately after this, we get a masked man in the ring. The masked man did not introduce himself, said that he was a new signee, signed personally by Billy Corgan. He only answers to Billy Corgan, and he's only out there because he's supposed to be. And that only Corgan knows who he is and what his purpose is. But he has no respect for anyone in the back, and that you're going to see something special when he gets in the ring. So I'm guessing Billy Corgan probably signed somebody who can't appear yet. And so we're going to get this stand-in masked guy until it happens. So that means he probably signed for somebody who got released from WWE. I know he's a big fan of Braun Strowman. He's talked about, how he basically personally invited Braun Strowman to come to NWA. So hopefully that'd be a good look for Braun, but he'd be so much bigger than most of the guys there. But it ought to be fun. Hopefully he gets them. So the second match is Lady Frost versus Taryn Terrell. So Taryn Terrell, like I said, I'm guessing is still injured. She took a neck breaker, a single neck breaker, and then flopped and rolled out of the ring, powdered, and was outside the ring for literally like 4 minutes. But she was talking. You know, she's told Lady Frost, like, look, it's very cute that you wanted to wrestle me, but I'm not in the mood to wrestle. I'm not interested in wrestling. I don't want to do this. You know, you can go on about your business, but, you know, you're welcome for the opportunity to get in the ring with me. And her personality is so annoying, and it's really good heel stuff. Like, her personality really shines through. And I know she can't wrestle because she didn't do anything. She took one bump, and that was it. She took one bump this whole match. So Lady Frost comes outside the ring to try to intimidate Terrell to getting back in, but Terrell is basically running away. She doesn't want to do it. Eventually, Terrell does get back in the ring, just as the referee starts counting. She was outside the ring forever. The ref wasn't counting. And then when she gets back in the ring, the ref starts. Right before she gets back in the ring, the ref is counting. And then Terrell shakes Lady Frost's hands and says, you're welcome for the opportunity. And, you know, you can leave. I don't want to wrestle. And then Lady Frost is disgusted. She turns around to walk away. And then, she gets rolled up. 1, 2, 3. And Terrell wins without throwing a single strike or doing a single move whatsoever. She stole one. I didn't understand it either. Didn't make sense to me either, bro. But Lady Frost is interesting because Mick Foley was the minister at her wedding, which I happened to see pictures of on Twitter. That was crazy. I know that's got to be fun. So Austin Idol and Tyrus came out, and they basically said that Pope is been beating up Jabronis, trying to sneak his way to that 7 for 7, that title match. But, you know, he starts talking about Tyrus having the baddest punch in the business, and he can knock out anybody in any company in any sport. And then some guy named Black G's showed up. He calls himself the Church's Money, the definition of fly, Black G's, and says that he's got an opportunity to make business with Tyrus and Austin Idol. And if they just come with him, there might be able some money to be made by all three of them. So Tyrus and Austin Idol walk off with him. And I was like, No, okay, whatever. I'm interested in seeing what he's going to do. He talked a good game. He sounded like a rapper. You know, rappers give themselves 100 nicknames. His guy did too. Trevor Murdoch was still whining about, not winning the world title and being screwed over his entire career because some people felt like he didn't deserve to be in the spot. And in the NWA, I felt like I really had a chance. And, I had Nick Otis beat. I don't know what to do. I had a dream about being a champion. I told my 15-year-old son I was going ugh. Stop it. You're a grown man. You have a 15-year-old son. You see him. You want him to see you so deflated and defeated. It's like, fuck that. You should be mad. You should be angry. You should be demanding a rematch right now. When Billy Corgan was out there talking about that women's tournament or that women's show, immediately, as soon as that shit got done, you should have been in his face like, rematch. I had him beat. Rematch. You should have been standing behind Joe Galley, daring, Nick Aldis to put his hands on him. You should have been out there in the mix. This depressed app, it sucks. Get off your ass. You want to be dusty. You want to play the dusty role. You got to have the Dusty's fire. All right. The third match was the end versus Rebellion, Bestia, Seis, and Mecha Wolf. Match was a double disqualification because the guys wouldn't leave the ring. They kept fighting each other. So that was the big match of the week. And it ended in double disqualification. Yay. And the coronation was just Nick Aldis giving Camille some flowers. And then Tina came out there. She took her shoes off and threw them. But she didn't throw them at Camille. She just threw them. Got in the ring and then said that she and Camille have some unfinished business. To which Camille, being country, was like, "Oh, really? Me and you got some unfinished business, honey. Sugar, honey, iced tea. What's wrong with you?" And Genocide comes out of nowhere and picks up Melina and moves her to the side. And Melina backs down. And then Genocide raises Camille's hand in a sign of respect. And that's it. That's the show. This was not good. this wasn't good. But at least we got something out of it, I guess. Got one or two things out of it. It's setting up the next set of tapings. Because now we know that the tournament is going. There's new faces. JTG's in the tournament, and but Chris Adonis is in the tournament. Tom Latimer's in the tournament. We know that there's a bunch of people in the national championship tournament. There's going to be, a mad dash to collect as much talent as possible for this women's pay-per-view. There's going to be a lot going on in the future. They sacrificed this episode to set up the future episodes. So that's fine. So I'll keep watching. Let me know what you guys think. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel if you can, and I'll talk to you guys later.